2022 has definitely been the year for dividends. It is the only pie within my trading 2 and 2 portfolio that is in the green at the moment. And to be honest, it's propping up my entire portfolio. Ever since I first started investing about 3 years ago now, dividends were always the thing that got me most excited, seeing those transactions coming in, that free cash, that money while you sleep. It's probably the only version of passive income that actually exists in reality. You do all the work up front, and then for as long as you hold that business, you are going to get dividends. September was a particularly good month for me. It was the second biggest month I've ever had for dividend investing. And what I'd like to do in this video is just go over the holdings that have paid me a dividend so we can see how much I've made. So let's bring up my pie here. This is my dividend pie. As you can see, I've got £10,000 invested in here. And as you can see, again, it is the only pie within my portfolio that is in the green. Touched on these businesses before, but what we can see when you click on holdings is we've got Microsoft, Apple, Realty Income, Johnson & Johnson, 3M, PepsiCo, Unilever, McDonalds, and Legal in General. I also hold Aviva within my Hargreaves Lansdowne portfolio, but the majority of my dividends are in here within Trading 2 and 2. Incidentally, if you do want to open an account with Trading 2 and 2 and get yourself a free share, I'll leave a link below where you can use that. You'll get a free share. I'll get a free share. Everyone wins. Now, also, I've got a funds pie, and within the funds pie are some dividend paying ETFs as well. So we'll cover some of those as well. So I've got £10,000 in dividend pie. I've got £10,000 in my fund pie, and I get dividends from pretty much everything across the both of those. So I had 9 dividends over the course of September. We're going to start with the least, going up to the most, and in at 9th place was Microsoft. I've got just over 5 shares of Microsoft, and its value comes in at around about 1,100 quid. The dividend real yield is pretty low on this. It's 1.09%. And as a result of that, I only got £2.05, as you can see here. Now, that is because, of course, because that yield is so low, just over 1%. So you can't expect much, especially when you're considering you've only got £1,000 in there. Now, dividends from Microsoft are paid quarterly as well. So I'll get 4 of them across the course of the year. So I'm not going to be able to retire on that clearly, but it is, it's a growth business that happens to pay a dividend as well. So I'm happy with it. In at number 7 is Realty Income. I got £3.82. So I'm going to add up the total up here. So we're going to get a running total of how much I made over the course of the month. So it's a 5% yield. It pays every month. I've had this since the second month I started dividend investing back in 2020. I love this business. I love seeing that dividend coming in once a month. That's not the only reason you want to invest in a business, of course. It's got some strong fundamentals. Have a look at it into yourself. Don't forget that 5% across the position that I have. So the position is 1,184. The 5%, because it's paid monthly, is 5% of that total distributed across 12 separate payments. So something to be clear on. When something has a dividend yield of 5%, you don't get 5% every quarter or every dividend payment. You get that broken down from the year into that dividend payment. Ever so slightly up, just 3.8% up within Realty Income, but I've had a dividend every month for about 3 years, and that's nicely totting up, comes in. Next up, we've got McDonald's, which paid £4.45. Again, it's a low yield, 2.31%. I've got £1,000 invested into this. McDonald's pays quarterly as well. Now, what I really like about McDonald's is in 2017, they built a whole new load of restaurants. They basically revamped the entire network. And they're in the process of doing the same thing again. They're in the next stage. The next stage is around where they're going to try and make it a more enjoyable experience to go to the restaurant. I don't know if you've noticed recently, it's just full of Uber Eats and Deliveroo drivers at the moment. So it can take away somewhat from the experience. So what they're going to do is they're going to remove the kitchen and push it around the back a little bit. They're going to make all of the equipment silent. They're going to have separate opening doors for the Deliveroo and the Uber Eats guys, and they're just going to try and make it much more of an enjoyable experience. So rolling that out across the franchise over the course of the next couple of years. But that £4.45, what is that? It pays for about 1 meal, doesn't it, really? All of my dividends, incidentally, are reinvested. I have never taken a penny out. We're looking for that compounding growth. Obviously, it's going to come in time, but that's what I do with my dividends. Johnson & Johnson's next. They paid me £5.09. They're at 2.74%. So all of these dividend yields are pretty low that we've started on. Obviously, that's why the numbers are relatively low. I've got £979 invested into Johnson & Johnson. I'm 12.4% up. That's, as you can see, right there, mainly because of the FX impact. It's an American business, so we're seeing that currency fluctuation working in our favor there. Johnson & Johnson is one of these big US blue chip pharma and consumer goods businesses that I'm happy to hold for decades, to be honest. Up next, we've got 3M. The consumer goods business, much more consumer goods than they are pharma, and they paid a dividend of £6.39 in September. So the stock has been hit recently. I've talked about it a couple of times. We're going through a bit of legal wranglings, but I don't imagine it's going to have any issues in terms of the long-term growth of the business. It's another quarterly paying dividend. I have got about £700, £668 invested, and I am 20% down into that, but that dividend comes every quarter, irrespective of whether I'm in the red or the green. Unilever's next up, and that is coming in at £7.26. By the way, as I'm showing it here, you can see that I'm averaging into all of these businesses. Everyone I've showed you, you can see all the purchase that I'm making. So £7.26, another consumer goods business. This is a UK business, but it has global reach. It sells into, I think I read, 130 countries throughout the world, something crazy like that. So a massive business that buys up other businesses, other brands that it sees that is doing well. I've got £878 invested into this business, 22 shares, and I am 0.36% up. So for a UK business, I'll take that at the moment. Right, next up, we got Vusa, which is a Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. We've got £8.29. I've got quite a bit of cash in this one because it's one of my funds, and I don't hold all that many funds. So how much have I got? I've got £2,227. So you might think, well, you expect a bit of a higher dividend, but it's only got a low yield. It's 1.34%. When you look down the list of the businesses that are within it, it's all the likes of Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, your usual big boys. So those are companies that don't pay that big a dividend. So it shows in the ETF, you don't get that much out of it. And in first place for September was Legal and General. And I got £34.36. Legal and General pay a dividend twice a year. Once in September, obviously, and once in June, July time. The September one is a interim dividend, so it's slightly smaller. The June, July one was about twice. I got about twice that. We can look here, actually. What did I get? Going back. Yeah, £72.96 at the beginning of June. So it's about twice what I got now. But that is the biggest dividend payer in my portfolio. It's 10.7% yield, and I've got quite a bit invested into it. I've got 1,486. I've got a high conviction into Legal and General. It's a business I do like. Again, because it's a UK business, you don't pay any of that stamp duty nonsense. So with any US businesses you hold, of course, for anyone that doesn't know, you pay 15% stamp duty. So that comes out before you even see the payment. It gets taken out automatically. So for all dividends you get from US businesses, you get 15% less than you actually should. So across my portfolio, that brings me to £71.71 for the month. That's my second highest month. Much more than I made in the entirety of my first year at £65. In reality, it's brought my yearly total up to £325, which is double what I made in 2021. So you're really starting to see that growth happening. Majority of that is coming obviously from the amount that I'm investing and contributing, but the snowballing is beginning to happen, and we're starting to see some increases into those dividends. I really do love seeing it grow every month, and you're seeing that increase. And at the end of each year, if you're doubling what you did in the last year, it's not going to be too long before that's making a significant difference to your life. So don't forget, there's a link for a free share below. And if you want to have a look through my entirety of my portfolio, click on this here.